Hi, if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Or if you're like me and you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Chaotic Curl, and in today's video, I'm actually taking inspiration from a Pinterest post that I saw to make a simple granny square crop top. I made the squares already, so I am going to go ahead and just show you guys what that looks like putting the squares together. I did make two different types of squares in two different shades of green, and the yarn that I actually used is this one. It's Aunt Lydia's crochet thread in Fashion 3. This one is different because she actually does have different sizes. The one that you see most commonly would be the size 10, which is super thin. I didn't get that one because, well, it didn't have the colors that I wanted, so I didn't get it. But for the one that I did get, it's a super fine, as you can see. It's a 1 super fine, and the hook that it takes, it says it takes a 3.5 to 3.75 millimeter. And this one is actually in the color Sage. The other color that I used is this one, which is in the color Lime. And as you can see, I already unwrapped it. I did get started on the project, but this is the second color that I used. And of course, my most trusty tool, my crochet hook. This is my 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, which I used to make both squares, all the squares in both colors, I mean. So the only hook that I used was this one for this entire project. I also used my scissors, of course, and I didn't need any stitch markers for this project, thankfully, but I am going to use some safety pins and stuff just to hold everything together once I start slip stitching it all together. But as of right now, we're just going to get started with the project. So let's go get those squares made, and then we'll get everything together. For the lime color, I'm actually doing a solid granny square. So this is how I do that. We start off with the magic ring. Stack single crochet to start. And 2 more double crochet. Then we chain 2 for that corner, and we do another cluster of 3 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to do 2 more clusters of 3 double crochet with 2 chains to get to the end of the row, or to finish off this row. And then we just slip to the top of that first stacked single crochet, and we finished the first round. Okay, since we're doing a solid granny square for this row, we would actually go into that same stitch that we slip stitched into to start. So we're gonna go right into that same stitch. I'm going to do my stacked single crochet. And now into this corner, we're going to do 2 double crochet and then chain 2. That's 1, 2, chain 2 for the corner, and then again in that same corner we go 1, 2, double crochet. So that's 1, 2. Okay, so now I have my first corner here, and we're ready to start back into the row. So remember, it's going to be solid, so we're going to look for the top of that first stitch. This stitch here, this would be the top, so we're going to do that double crochet right into the top, and we just continue into each double crochet across the row until we make it to that next corner. And now here we're going to make another corner, so that's 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 double crochet. So we do 1, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochet. That's 1, and this is my second one. We just go back into that top stitch there, and then 1 double crochet across until it's back to the corner. And this is basically how you're going to continue the pattern in each row. For the solid, you're going to do a double crochet into each stitch of that row. So like, let's say in the next row we're going to have 7, if I'm not mistaken. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll be doing 7 stitches in that next row. So I finished the double crochet in the stitch. Now we do for the corners, as it's going to be for the rest of the pattern, you do 2 double crochet into the corner, chain 2 to make the corner for the next row. So chain 2, and then 2 more double crochet in that same corner. 1, 2, and then again, since we're back at the row, we just crochet across each double crochet. So that's 1, 2, and then in the corner again, it's 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 more double crochet. And now, as you remember, we already started with 1 stitch done on this side, so we just have to do the last 2 here to finish off this side of the square. And then you just slip the stitch into the top of that first stitch. So that stacked double crochet, that stacked single crochet we did, we just slip the stitch. Turn, and like I said, you're going to go back into that same stitch to start the next row. So you would just do your stacked double crochet into that same stitch you slipped into after you turn. 1, 2, and then you would go into each double crochet across until you get to the corner where you do 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same corner, and continue from there. And I'll keep going from here. So I'm getting started on my classic granny square with my favorite way to do it, with the magic circle. So as you can see, I'm looping the working yarn over the tail yarn, and then when I go to make the first little loop, I go grab the working yarn under the tail, and then of course I go again under the working yarn and I loop it through, as you can see, to get that first little stitch or that first little loop on my hook. Now that we have the little loop, we're going to get started with our stacked single crochet, which of course is what I use for the turning chain. So instead of chaining 2 or instead of chaining 3 at the beginning of the row, I would just do this stacked single crochet. And then of course for the granny square, we do 2 more double crochet to finish off that cluster of 3 double crochet, since our stacked single crochet does count as 1 double crochet. Then after we finish the 3 double crochet, you chain 2, and then we do another cluster of 3 double crochet, and again to make that corner you just chain 2 and you continue that way. And we're actually going to be doing four sets of 3 clusters, so you should end up with 12 stitches and of course 4 corners. And to finish this off, it's the same as with the solid granny square, where you're just going to slip the stitch right into the top of our stacked single crochet. And once you actually finish on this one, you would just turn and go right into that corner where you are now, and we're going to work our stacked single crochet right into the corner. And there is where we're going to do our first cluster of 3. So we'll finish the stacked single crochet, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet and then chain 2 to start making that corner, and then we'll do another cluster of 3 double crochet right into the same corner. And we're actually going to continue that way for the rest of this round as well. Okay, so I finished row 2 and I'm working on row 3 right now, and I just wanted to show you guys how I continue into the next rows. As you can see, we're working in the gap from the previous row, so I'm just going to work my 3 clusters of double crochet into each gap, and again when we get to the corners, it's going to be a cluster of 3 double crochet, then we're going to do 2 chain stitches in between, and then another cluster of 3 double crochet for that corner. But along the rest of the row, or along the rest of the side, for the box, you would just be working the clusters of 3 into each space from the previous row. Here are the finished squares. As you can see, I have the solid granny square in lime, and then we have the classic granny square in sage. And I made sure to make enough squares to do the top, so I'm just going to put it in the order that I'm going to be sewing it all together in so that I can show you guys. Okay, so this is what it's going to be looking like. I have the 2 squares in sage just for the back, just in case, because what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to sew all of these together so that it's, you know, the crop tops. This is the front of the top, so this is what it's going to be looking like. This is going to be the top where the 4 are, so I'm going to be crocheting straps from this one to that one, and of course from this one to that one. But just in case they don't reach fully in the back to close, that's why I made these 2 extra squares. So if anything, I would be adding these 2 squares of sage onto the ends of the lime squares, just so that I could extend it a little bit more in the back, so that way I'm not just relying on a little crochet thread or a little crochet string to hold the back together. I actually want something like in the back, so that's what I'm thinking of doing right now. Now, of course, once I have everything together, if the top, or for whatever reason, if everything comes pretty close to closing in the back, then I'm not going to add the 2 sage squares. I'll figure out something else to do with them. But for right now, this is what we've got. And so I'm actually going to get started on seaming everything together with the slip stitch seam. So I'm just going to get working on that, and then I'll come back once everything's together just to show you guys what the top is looking like. So, as you can see, it's done. I'm gonna try and get better shots tomorrow since the sun's already set and it's pretty dark, but I love the way it looks, I love the way it fits, and I also changed the design a little bit, but I'll go more into detail about that tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Okay, and as promised, this is what the top is looking like during the day. Now, like I did say, I was going to do some changes if the back came pretty close to touching, and it actually did come really close to touching, but it didn't touch. So I used one of the squares that I had left over in sage to cover up that back, as you can see, and I did make sure to integrate it into the straps just so that it's not flapping there in the wind. And of course, with the other square that I had left over, I just added it to the bottom of the top. So it's not as cropped as I was thinking it was going to be, but I love the way it turned out. I love the back. I even like the little buttons that I used that I found at Walmart. They have little star patterns on them, but I love this top. And I'm actually thinking about making it again, but instead of a top, making it into a dress. So a granny square dress would be perfect. One more look just before we end everything, but this is my top. And thanks so much for joining me in today's video. I hope you enjoyed making whatever it is that you were going to make, or if you're going to make this top as well, I hope you enjoyed the process of making it. It was pretty fun. Didn't take me as long as I thought it would. I made, if I'm not mistaken, 9 squares of the lime color and 5 squares of sage, and that was actually enough to finish everything that I wanted to do, so it worked out perfectly. But again, thanks so much for joining me in today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to join me over on my Instagram at chaotic_curl_crafts, where you'll be able to see more pictures of this top. I'll see you guys over there, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.